Hey, welcome in. It is 5 on Your Feed, our digital show here at 5 on Your Side. I'm Ryan Dean.
And I'm Allie Coreyman for Sydney Stallworth this morning.
And we have an extra face joining us this morning, Christine Byers, and that's because Christine is very well connected with police sources around the metro area, and you are actually on the #1 story right now on our website, which is about a suspected serial killer who has been caught.
Exactly. So what we know so far about this man is that he is a 25-year-old Bell Fountain neighbors man. He's been connected to 6 homicides, 2 in St. Louis County, 2 in St. Louis City, and 2 in Kansas City, Kansas. His name is Perez Reed, and like I said, he's 25 years old, actually turning 26 sometime this week, very soon. So, and the way that police were able to connect him to these crimes was through the same gun. The murder weapon was believed to be the same at all of these scenes.
And I know with a couple of these instances, when we reported on it, many of them are women. And a few were connected as possibly being sex workers. What can you tell us about that?
Exactly. So part of the mystery here with this killer is that the victims really varied. So yes, some of them were women and some of them were known to be engaged in sex work, but there were also men that were targeted. There was one man who was shot but survived who was at a bus stop. And so, you know, the MO here is really varied.
Wow.
So right now he's being held in federal custody in Jennings, and that's because he has a federal gun charge, yes?
Exactly. So an assistant prosecuting attorney who was on call for the weekend in the city did not attend the interview that homicide detectives did with the suspect. And so, but an assistant U.S. attorney did. So he was charged with a federal weapons charge. And so as a result of that, he is being held in federal custody at a facility in Jennings. However, St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell has charged this man with 2 of the homicides in St. Louis County. So should he come over to St. Louis County's custody, his bail has been set at $2 million.
And there's a 2 o'clock news conference this afternoon. And what do we know about that?
So at the 2 o'clock news conference, Wesley Bell is expected to, formally announce the charges that he has filed against this man. All of the other agencies that participated in this investigation, the FBI, St. Louis City, St. Louis County Police, of course, they're expected to attend as well, and the U.S. Attorney's Office as well.
Sorry if you mentioned this already, but you did say something earlier in your article, I was reading it, about the shoes he was wearing connected to the crime. And again, I'm sorry if you mentioned that already, but what can you tell us about that?
So basically, police sources tell me that the way that they were able to track him was they connected his cell phone to a train ticket that was bringing him back to St. Louis from the Kansas City area. And when they sent FBI agents onto the train to follow him along, at some point he got off the train and boarded a bus. They then followed that bus and they followed him to Independence, Missouri, which is where they ultimately arrested him. And when they arrested him, he was wearing shoes that were connected to these crime scenes.
Wow.
And the gun.
And he also had the gun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
I was really relieved to see your report, Christine, because I know this caused quite a bit of fear in the community. And like you said, they were pretty random targets. So, that puts the public at fear. So.
Absolutely, and part of the problem early on in the investigation, police sources tell me is, because the victims appeared to be so random, and there wasn't a lot of commonality there, they weren't sure if this gun was being, passed around on the street. And just being used by random criminals. It just happened to be the same gun. But they've clearly established through other evidence, that it was all the same person.
Wow.
And it was interesting, too, how it played out, because at first they had this warning out there about potentially sex workers being targeted. Then they were kind of walking it back a little bit because they said, we just aren't sure at this point. Maybe they were closing in on him. Maybe that's why they didn't want to spook the suspect. But, and now we learned 6, homicides connected. So
And that's what we know so far,
Yeah.
because truly, the last known crime that he has been connected to in the St. Louis area happened at the end of September. And then the next known crime that happened at the end of October. So there was a whole month of time there that they're still investigating. So it's really important for his image to get out there, for people to take a good look and see if, they recognize him, saw him anywhere, anything like that. They're trying to really retrace all of his steps.
Wow. Well, Christine, thank you for joining us here, and then we'll look forward to your further reports tonight after that 2 p.m. news conference. Thank you. Let's get to that other top story today, and it is trending across the country. The Deadly Music Festival in Houston. It's all anyone really on TikTok and other social media outlets have been talking about since Friday when it happened. And now there was a lawsuit filed. 8 people died and dozens more are still recovering after the crowd at Astroworld got out of control. One of those people injured is now suing rapper and producer Travis Scott, Live Nation, and others involved in the event. And there's also a criminal investigation underway. Now, the people who were there described the concert as pure chaos. There were about 50,000 people. Many say they felt trapped, they weren't able to breathe, and instead of standing on the ground, they stood on each other's feet. That is how crowded it was. So most of the crowd likely had no idea that they were even in trouble, though. But it's clear from some of the videos that were shared online that some of the crowd did, in fact, know that there was trouble, and they tried to help. Some fans criticized Travis Scott for continuing the concert after seeing emergency vehicles trying to get through the crowd and then encouraging his team members to crowd surf. Travis Scott said in an Instagram video that he was devastated and that he would cooperate with the investigation. It's just horrific.
Yeah.
You know, and you start to watch some of these videos and then you just want to stop because it's hard to imagine the fear that people were in, because when you think of a crowd that large being pushed towards the stage and then people getting trampled, some of the stories that we heard, you just wonder, because we've had so many festivals similar to this, how does this happen?
Yeah, and I think that's why it's so popular of a story. I mean, obviously just what happened is horrific, but it's one of those stories you can put yourself in that situation.
I could have been at that festival.
Right, you're like, I can put myself there. I did watch a story where Travis Scott actually did stop the concert, and he pointed out to, I think he said, we need somebody here or something over there. I remember seeing that. And then also earlier in the day, they showed video of concert goers running through security gates. So there was already some really, some behavior that was like, whoa. I mean, like that was daylight video, and they're rushing through security checkpoints and kind of rushing to probably where the actual concert will be. But that was on Today's Show. I saw that video. So a lot to look through. And then there was also this one story now that our sister station, KHOU, is reporting about. A security guard felt a prick at his neck.
I saw that.
And then he passed out. And this is from the police chief, so it's a source that that's reputable. And he was saying that passed out, and then the EMS person noticed like there was some kind of prick mark. So they're looking at like,
were people getting drugged?
Like again, these are early reports, but it's the police chief saying this. It's not like it's just some hoax website that's saying this. Like, actually came from the police chief because he was asked about it, I'm sure.
So this festival started in 2018, right? So it's only been around for a few years or so. But there are reports that in the past, Travis Scott has sort of amped up and gotten the crowd to get a little bit rowdy, like let's get loud. And apparently, that was what people were doing. They were getting excited, which, at concerts, people do get excited and they get rowdy, but there was too big of a crowd and something more needed to be done there. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that.
Okay, TikTok is credited with saving a North Carolina teenager's life. A 61-year-old man is accused of taking the 16-year-old across state lines. While in Kentucky, another driver spotted the girl making a hand signal she learned on TikTok. There you go. Right there's the hand gesture that the sheriff is showing there. It starts with an open hand, then you tuck in your thumb, then close your fist. When another driver recognized it as a distress signal from a viral video on TikTok, she called 911. Now the FBI is now taking over this case.
Wow.
That is crazy to think,
It
though.
is. Well, before this story, I think if I saw someone doing that, I would not know what that meant. I would hope that I would recognize that a person was in distress other than doing that. But you were saying maybe, this girl was trying to be incognito and
trying to play it cool. You never know. But I mean, thank goodness the person passing by
did something,
understood the signal,
and actually called 911. Because we know oftentimes people say, "Oh, someone else probably saw this, so I don't need to."
Police always say, "See something, say something." Just say it. Okay, it's a topic that has America pretty split right now. President Biden's vaccine mandate. The administration has until 5 o'clock today to respond to a pause on his vaccine rules for larger companies. Over the weekend, a judge panel issued a stay saying there could be constitutional issues with it. The rules require private business with more than 100 employees to get vaccinated by January 4th. Otherwise, unvaccinated employees have to take weekly tests. Several Republican-led states have filed challenges against the rule, including right here in Missouri.
All right, well, the St. Louis County Department of Public Health, they are hoping to get over 3,000 more kid-sized COVID vaccine doses today or tomorrow. Over the weekend, they distributed the 300 doses that they have received so far to children ages 5 to 11. Now, we caught up with some of the kids who got their first dose, and they all commented on whether it hurt or not. And what was heard was really the same response as adults, that they had sore arms, and others said they didn't even hardly feel it. If you or your child want to get a vaccine, you can just text the word vaccine to this number here, 314-425-5355, and we will send you a link with the clinics closest to you.
Missouri legislators are willing to bet the house that sports wagering in the state would be a success. This comes after the Cardinals, Blues, and St. Louis SC announced they're backing ballot initiatives to legalize betting. Missouri legislators can start pre-filing bills for the 2022 session on December 1st. Attorneys for the Missouri Sports Team Coalition say they want to see sports gambling legalized in some form by early 2022. The defense of the St. Louis Cardinals cleaned up on Sunday. How about this? Nolan Arenado, Tyler O'Neill, Harrison Bader, Tommy Edman, and Paul Goldschmidt all were rewarded Gold Gloves. The Cardinals are the first team in history to win 5 Gold Gloves in one season. Now, this is what's shocking. Yachty was also in the running, but he did not win. Now, that would be a great trivia question years down the line.
Right.
The 2021 team had 5 Gold Glove winners. Could you guess them? I guarantee you.
People would put Yachty on the list.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And also, breaking this morning, Matt Carpenter, longtime Cardinal, he wasn't re-signed. He just put a message out on his Twitter page thanking the fans. Saying goodbye. And Wainwright, he retweeted with a really nice comment saying one of the best teammates of all time. So we'll have more on that coming up at 5 on your side at noon. We'll show you that video.
All right, well, hey, if you're looking to maybe go outside and have lunch today is the day to do it. Let's get a check on that forecast now with Anthony.
All right, we made it to a Monday, and you know what? We've actually got temperatures that are going to be very nice today. A little chilly this morning, but we'll be back into the 70s this afternoon. So a light jacket, you can lose it this afternoon under sunny skies. Winds today out of the south at 5 to 10. Now, tomorrow's just as nice. It's just we'll have a few more clouds around. Same for Wednesday, maybe a sprinkle. And then as we get into Thursday, that's the best chance for rain, especially in the morning hours. Rain should clear away for the weekend, but it stays cool and breezy. Highs on Saturday may not climb out of the 40s.
Brr.
Brr.
All right, parents, we know it's not Thanksgiving yet, but maybe you're already dreading the return of the elf on the shelf. Well, if you are, you're not alone. There is a judge in Cobb County, Georgia, and he has issued an executive order banishing them. Judge Rob Leonard tweeted his order saying they are a risk to emotional health if the elf forgets to move overnight. Sometimes those elves can be very forgetful.
Yeah.
And he says the supply chain issues might leave some kids without elves this year. So the judge said, quote, "I am a public servant and I will take the heat for you. My gift to tired parents." He said, but if you do like it, no contempts. So either way,
yes,
you want to go on this one, you're fine.
I got to be thinking he was really being fun sport
he
here.
was being
right.
It's a joke.
I saw some comments where I don't think people
were
realize
like,
that.
wait,
Wait, what? You're banning it for real? Come on.
No.
Yeah, it's a joke.
That's what you want. But those elves, man, the places they end up, it's wild.
It is wild. It is wild. And anything like Instagram, it's really like, wow, that's something spectacular. Yeah.
Right. Your elf has gotten real creative.
Do you guys do elf on the shelf?
We sure do.
We do as well. Oh yeah, that magical elf. What's your elf's name? Do you know?
We named him last year, and I was just thinking, I forgot what his name is. I hope my husband
Mine was like Leroy or something like that. Jack named him. Oh, man. So anyway, all right. Well, that's all the time we have for you today.